Pierre, here we are.
Thank you for...
In the pub at Huntsman.
In the Huntsman pub. Yeah, actually, we're going to rechristen that, the Huntsman pub.
I love the Huntsman pub.
Where we go after the shoot.
Yeah.
And so the idea today was to basically go, okay, what should someone wear for what kind of shoot?
Well, I don't know, you're the expert on shooting, Pierre. I mean, you shoot like a demon, so you tell me what to wear.
Well, you're the sartorial expert. I mean, I actually have moved, I used to wear lederhosen for quite a long time. And then I kind of decided I wanted to have some trousers. So actually just in front of you there's...
And here is Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, yeah.
This was the famous tweed that basically Daisy and I kind of rigged, wasn't it, to win the competition.
Well, I mean,
it wasn't rigged. We just made sure that votes were cast in its favour. So maybe we campaigned very
and I think the reason, whenever I wear that, everybody loves it because it's surprisingly fitting in the countryside, and with the purple and the green. It was done by a gentleman from Nebraska who had never left America. Never left America.
Didn't have to leave America either to get it done because he went to the New York atelier.
To the New York atelier, exactly. And tell me, what do you think of pleats? Are you pro pleats?
I'm very pro pleats, but I like drape. I mean, you see, with this, for example, what have I got in here apart from a poacher's pocket?
The poacher's pocket is amazing.
I have also got deep-ish pleats. Where are we? Yeah, there and there. And I always like pleats. I mean, not for any particular reason. Also, if you're fat, when you've eaten too much, it sort of is a bit more forgiving.
And what about turn-ups?
I love turn-ups. I'd have them deeper myself. I don't know. I've got no turn-ups today, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm not practicing what I preach. But I love turn-ups.
And what's the story of turn-ups and dukes?
Well, as far as I remember, there was a passage in the Duke of Windsor's memoirs, A King's Story, where he talked about his father's attitude to modern dress, which included turn-ups. Mm-hmm. And apparently every time he saw his son wearing turn-ups, even inside, he would look up and ask whether it was raining or not. Because, of course, the thing was that you would have turned the trousers up to navigate puddles and so forth.
All right.
But I don't know.
It's one of these stories.
It's one of those apocryphal stories, like going rat in Harris. You know, the guy who wore the tweed at Ascot.
I don't know that story.
I think it was Edward VII who, going rat in Harris, he asked him if he was going to go ratting because he was dressed in a manner that suggested he was sort of more properly dressed for killing vermin in the countryside rather than attending Ascot. But
talking about dressing, would you mind just taking that bolt there? No, the bolt on the radiator. Actually, talking about dressing, Julian Fellows, who's actually really, as he told us from an earlier age, realized that he really wanted to be dressed up properly. Let's move a little bit in the light here.
I want to be dressed up. I don't care about properly necessarily.
He actually, his favorite shooting attire is court. So
have we seen that? I'm not a big student of Downton Abbey, so have we seen that? Have we seen corduroy being worn in the field in Downton?
I don't remember the shooting moments in Downton, but I think they're more like in three-piece tweeds.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
So this is him being very daring. I think corduroy is wonderful, though. I've got many suits in corduroy. I've got pink, several blue ones, brown. They're great.
Yeah.
But I don't wear them. I wouldn't have worn them. I wouldn't have thought to wear them shooting.
No, I didn't actually, but Julian does, and actually it's
who are we to contradict such an authority
exactly.
on the being posh as
so
Julian?
Let's look at a couple of the things here. As I had the extraordinary privilege to be able to buy from a wonderful gentleman who was going to vintage shops. Shooting suits from Eric Clapton.
Are these really Eric Clapton suits?
So you can see that in the... would you take one of the jackets there? Yeah. And show us the lapel inside. And it's on the other pocket, I believe.
And normally, I think it is on this pocket.
Yeah.
But, the name has been blocked out.
Yeah. We actually...
But you verified it through your records?
We verified through the number record. And actually, when Eric came for lunch here, you remember we were together.
Oh, yes.
Downstairs. He actually saw this, but
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, and he's got 3 pieces and even 4-piece suit. So if you were commissioning a shooting suit from scratch, would you go for 2-piece, 3-piece, 4 pieces?
6.
6.
Okay, I'd go for a pair of. I mean, this is the extreme.
I'll put that in the light a little bit.
This is extreme. I would go for maybe Let's put it in there so you can see the lovely hue. I would go for regular trousers with turn-ups, without turn-ups, then the shooting breeches, but sort of +8, so to sort of almost comedy Bertie Wooster, shooting gilet, normal waistcoat, or waistcoat as we're supposed to say, coat, then a hat. So I don't know how many pieces that is, but that would be the hat, the coat, the waistcoat, the trousers, the other trousers, the shooting gilet, and the breeks. So that's... And the gun slip.
And the gun slip.
That's 8.
That's 8.
So I mean, I think 4 pieces is very, very restrained. Could be a double gun slip, 9.
Let's talk about the waistcoat and the +8. These are new things to me. So why do we need to say the waistcoat? What's the story there?
I don't know. I mean, again, it's like calling a jacket a coat. Do you know what I mean? I was perfectly happy to call it a jacket until I found out that was very in for dig. But then you've got to talk about overcoat, sports coat, and all this. I mean, but if you ask any of the guys cutting, they're very sort of correct about these matters. For them, it's sort of. And there's the story about the man in the city who asked if he could take off his jacket only to have his boss tell him, this is obviously a while ago when they dressed properly in the city, his boss told him only potatoes have jackets, gentlemen wear coats.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah.
So let's look at a jacket actually. What do you find?
That coat.
Yeah, that coat, sorry. That coat. So, yeah, that's a detail. So these are pockets, and usually...
the bellows patch pocket.
Bellows patch pocket.
So you can, I mean, presumably, I don't know, I think you should be able to fit 2 boxes of cartridges in each one without it breaking. So that's enough to start a small...
And you've got that little extra button.
You've got the extra button so that when you're loading, I mean, really, I can't, I mean, I'm so poor at shooting that I can't load and shoot at the same time, so I need to have somebody do it for me. But I love this kind of detail where you have this out of the way so you can quickly load. And then when you're finished, you button it back down. And then this is here to sort of, presumably, when you're accessing the pocket so much, you're in danger of fraying the top. So this is a protection. The throat strap is nice, but really what I like best is when they have that sort of kidney-shaped thing under the lapel, which you then take out and button across. But as you see, you've got the foul weather fastening here. So let us, excuse me while I do this. You button the lapel and then across the throat.
Yes.
For foul weather. But as we know, everybody wears sort of appalling kind of technical fabric.
And actually, isn't that a technical fabric tweed?
Tweed was a technical fabric when they didn't have technical fabrics. I mean, the technical thing about it is it's heavy, so it's warm. When you get wet, the fibers expand, so it becomes kind of quite waterproof. I mean, I wear a tweed cap all day in the rain, and my head remains dry because the tweed, when it's damp, it just expands and then doesn't let any more water in.
Is that what's happening? The fiber expands and then it blocks the little holes, and so it becomes, that's amazing.
I know, so I mean, if it were being marketed today, they would market it with these miracle properties, but I just love the color, and I love the sort of, the way that they've done the yarn, and they've got all these colors, gray, blue, moss, a bit of yellow, a bit of rust. It's exquisite. I mean, it is a little work of art, in my opinion. I find these so...
Yeah, we've got more and more people who love to make their own tweed, or we do these house tweed, like the one you're wearing
This is from 2000, isn't it?
Which is wonderful. It could have been done yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad, actually, even though I say so myself.
Emma, would you mind turning it around? There's some details at the back.
And the flower loop as well is nice, of course.
The flower loop.
I love the idea of you go onto the peg with a sort of carnation in your lapel, or a daffodil or something like that.
A poppy.
But it would be a poppy, wouldn't it? Because there's not much in bloom in the shooting season.
No, there's a sort of chrysanthemum or whatever you call it. Okay, so let's talk about that. What's the detail here? You have like pleats, you've got a belt.
Belted back, shooting back, which is basically you've got this where you get extra movement. And then I don't know if this one has got a bit of elastic across the back inside or not to allow it to return to its place.
It does return to its place because there's nothing worse than flaps that stay open.
Yes, or I don't know, or maybe it's so well tailored, this being Huntsman, that it just sort of snaps back into position automatically.
And the belted at the back, is that...
Just to gather the extra cloth.
And is it traditional? Oh, it's to gather the extra cloth of the...
Because you've got these little pleats here, so it enables them to I mean, I've got these in cotton for the summer because they're like Fitzcarraldo, you know, that movie Fitzcarraldo.
Love it.
And I love that. And I've got lots and lots and lots of little pleats, tucks more or less here, across here, to give it a sort of ballooning feel almost across the back. So you get to use more fabric, and I mean, I take it that's the point. And then it's sort of, I don't like anything tight. I mean, I'm the antithesis of what people like today. People love to have these television personality type outfits where they look as though they've been sprayed on. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the leg is sort of sometimes like this.
Well, it's not practical when you're outdoor shooting, so we would not recommend that. We
No.
would leave some ample room. And
I like lots of cloth.
Yeah.
And because it's so beautiful as well. And I just think drape is so much more flattering than sort of trying to, because as soon as you're trying to look young, you look old. Do you know what I mean?
It's
almost axiomatic.
It's that effect. Let's look at the trousers that we've got there, because I think, if I remember correctly, talking about the weather, they've also got a feature. Would you mind taking them off the? Yeah, I'll take that from you. Okay. So if you hold them up, or is it this one? Actually, it is this. No, it's got that too. Okay.
What has it got?
Well, it's got that fishtail.
Oh, that's for braces. I don't have it on this one because I got straight top trousers.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love the fishtail back. It's very flattering, and it's quite practical and comfortable. But I mean, what did Oscar Wilde say about trousers? He said something very clever. He said they're worn from the shoulder rather than the waist, meaning that you have them. I mean, basically, the ones I'm wearing, are a little big, and I had these made so that I could do the straps and wear them without braces. But I always wind up wearing braces because they hang much better.
So Matthew, one of our cutters downstairs, has got this extraordinary contraption that you can only wear with braces, where he's got some suspenders for his socks, which are tied to the bottom of the shirt. So it keeps the shirt tucked in and the sock up.
That's very Italian. I've seen also the ones that I think Gianni Agnelli had these ones where you, like a nappy, buttoned the sort of shirt underneath the crutch. But it was very difficult when you wanted to hail a taxi. It was quite uncomfortable.
Right.
The shirt would sort of just...
I'm sure he found other people to hail taxis at the end.
I'm never sure that it's not him perpetuating a joke on all the people who mimicked him. Do you know what I mean? Like, sort of Gianni's wearing his underpants on his head. We've all got to wear our underpants on our head now.
That's how things have started, like King George and the gilet and this. But what I was told is that that's also very practical for bad weather, because then your back...
Well, your kidneys are. I mean, also, but I find it gets in the way sometimes if you're wearing a normal waistcoat.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of the little bit of ribbon that they have on the back to kind of tighten and loosen it sometimes get caught around here. But from a point of view of warmth, yes. I mean, I also wear them very high-waisted. I mean, they used to joke that I have my trousers so high-waisted they should put armholes in them. Like salopettes or something like that. But yeah, I mean, that keeps your kidneys warm.
Yeah. And the bottom, Emma, would you put it upside down? Thank you.
What's he got here? Velcro. Very practical.
Velcro. So we Velcro or we button, or it doesn't matter?
I have little buckles. I have some with buttons. But that's because they are, I mean, this is a proper shooting man's thing, because you would put them on and it's about the convenience of wear. Do you know what I mean? So this is obviously somebody who knows what they're doing.
So you're not horrified at the sort of Velcro creeping in a traditional...
So much has crept into shooting these days that I don't think it's as, I think that this is a practical measure. And if Huntsman made it, it can't be that bad.
Well, we do what people want. We
know,
try to tell, but
practical.
It's very practical.
I don't have Velcro because I like the traditional. I mean, the first pair of +4s I got was, again, they were more comic. Do you know what I mean? They were more like the sort of Bertie Wooster ones.
So you mentioned +4 now, and
yes.
What are those? Are they plus
well,
what?
I don't know, what would these be? +4s, +2s, maybe +2s? +2, there's a special thing. +4s are for shooting, +2s are for, again, I could be completely wrong. +2s are for walking. And then there's +6s and +8s. I don't know, but it's about the drop of the, so I like it to look...
So what is the plus exactly?
It's the number of inches here, I believe.
Okay.
So you tighten it here, and then it drops.
Interesting.
So,
And
I mean, so if
the more is probably for the more.
Am I right here?
Yes. That's
Yeah.
So what? And then the funniest thing is sometimes when you undo them, they almost look like kind of Turkish trousers because they're so on some of mine the drop is so long that by the time I've let it out, they sort of come down to there
like
almost anyway. So they're
pantaloons.
almost like comedy pantaloons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they go straight into acting Alibaba or something like that.
But I suppose the larger number, the more ample, and therefore for like, imagine skiing, for instance.
Maybe the +6 was skiing.
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't ski.
Yeah. Well, you're looking good skiing.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, the only reason I do it is so I could wear tweed +7s or +9s or something like that.
Well, actually, Campbell and I are sort of plotting on returning the tweed to skiing.
That'll be.
And so we found an original lily white of 1920s.
Tweed.
Yeah, which we are inspiring ourselves to recreate a Huntsman ski suit.
You know what's also brilliant is the guy Picard, Professor Picard, who was the model for the original Professor Calculus in the Tintin novels. One of the great Belgians of all time. And he went to the border of space wearing a Norfolk jacket and a tweed hat.
Norfolk jacket.
Which brings us into the Norfolk jacket.
Yeah. Before we go to Norfolk, I wanted to ask you a question. So this is from the Earl of Calder, the Thane of Calder.
This was what they wore in Macbeth, wasn't it?
Well, it's but it's 1925 that.
It's a bit after Macbeth then.
And it's a bit after Macbeth. But what we intrigued is that it's got a lot of fraying protection.
Yes.
Or was it for water protection?
No, that's fraying.
Yeah.
That's just because it's knackered.
And so
I don't know if have they
years,
redone the buttonholes as well. No, but the buttonholes look pretty.
Original?
If you zoom in on this, you'll see the decay and wear. Not terrible. I've got a tweed coat with some staghorn buttons, and I tell you, the staghorn is like running sandpaper over the stitches. You have to have it. Yeah, they're so abrasive. So these are not looking bad for 100 years.
So why do you think we've got this?
Maybe they were very keen on kestrels and hawks, and they would have them alight on the forearm.
Possibly.
I mean, it seems to be for a riding coat, it seems to be pretty multi-purpose. You've got the gun patches here.
Yeah.
Not a full yoke, but just the gun patches. Yeah. You've got the sort of equestrian sort of narrowness here and the cut, the flare. And then you've got these, hawking patches. Or I don't know. I mean, normally they would be here.
Or for a gun not to slip.
No. But maybe it is for a gun not to slip.
But then why on two? Anyway.
Well, maybe they're ambidextrous. Or maybe they were doing a hawk and a gun at the same time.
If anybody's got an explanation, we'll, reach out to us.
Write in on a postcard.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's...
To Cawdor Quiz.
The Cawdor Quiz.
It's a beautiful cloth. I mean, you've got a bit of pink and a bit of heather in here as well. It's fantastic.
Which is why that gentleman from Nebraska was not that far.
No, the gentleman from Nebraska, as we know, is a genius.
Why don't we take that Norfolk jacket? You mentioned Norfolk jacket.
Well, but I'm keen about Norfolk jackets is that Professor Picard wore one when he went near space. He was in search of some magic rays, and he went up in a bathyscaphe and then came down in Austria, I think. And he went and lectured the local villagers on what he'd found, and he was wearing a Norfolk jacket and a tweed hat.
And what's really special, because there's a lot of tailoring there.
There's a lot of details, much of which I don't know what it's all about. But these were this was the ultimate performance garment in late Victorian England. Because basically activity was not something gentlemen really took until relatively recently. So this would have been if you were walking somewhere, if you were because the Alps were a summer destination, so you would go walking in the Alps wearing this, you would go cycling on your penny farthing wearing this, you would go shooting. Any form of activity beyond tennis or croquet or polo or whatever, this is for your cold weather sporting outfit. It's brilliant. I mean, I love it. You're meant to put, I think you're supposed to put, aren't you supposed to have pockets in here sometimes? Hand warmer pockets. You know these things.
I'm not sure about this one.
This is yours, I take it, because you've got the antlers on the inside.
Yes, that was actually an interpretation of the stag.
And the back?
And the back again has got that belt.
Yep. I mean, it's a great garment. I don't know enough. I mean, I'm so ignorant on almost everything, but I'm particularly ignorant when it comes to Norfolks. But I've got one.
Here we go. Yeah.
I've got one in grey. It's fantastic. I wear it to the watch fairs.
Let's look at that other coat. What is it? What would that be?
Listen, I don't know. I've got absolutely no idea what that is whatsoever, but I like it.
It looks nearly like something horse riders would wear. No, look at.
I don't know. It looks like a paletot or something like that. I mean, it's very interesting. You've got the extra pocket. Where do you get this stuff?
It's from the archives.
Well, yeah, but I mean, when? 14th century. No, this is very recent. This is.
O2?
This is brilliant.
What is it?
It's made for Count A. Vorontsov das. I mean, it sounds like something out of Tolstoy. And he had it in I presume 1902, not 2002, but actually 2002, obviously. And he liked it so much he didn't come and pick it up.
Well, he will now that he knows it's here.
Now he knows it's ready, finally,
what's
after 2002.
It's ready. What's the bag? Okay, so...
I think this might be the Count's own design.
Very possibly.
For a specialist Tolstoy-related activity. Maybe it's Tolstoy reading
okay, let's move on. What else have we...
But if you look at the way that you love your corduroy, and the way the corduroy has been cut for the collar is nice.
How is it?
Well, it's just nicely done.
Because it has to go in some bias.
Yeah, I know, but it's beautifully finished. I really do like the way that it's been done. It's great.
Good. And then, what do you wear in the evening when you invited somewhere shooting? What's the?
Well, you know this marvelous dress code, which there's so because you know when you're packing and you're taking a lot of stuff for just one night, it's always easy when they say that it's less formal, so you don't have to take one thing. So there's this marvelous dress code called velvet smoking jacket but no bow tie. So they save you the trouble and the weight of packing your bow tie, which I think is very, very thoughtful. Because as we know, bow tie next to cufflinks are some of the heaviest things you can travel with. So they leave you just wearing the jacket, the dress shirt, the trousers, the highly polished black shoes, the cummerbund.
Show us the smoking jacket of the...
I love this in brown.
Yeah.
Is that a real one, or is that one you had made up earlier?
That's no, that's a real one.
Is it a real one?
Yeah, I think it might be a stock model.
I think it's a stock model.
Yeah. And so...
Very nice too. Would it fit me?
You can try. It fits me, so it's probably a bit bigger,
okay.
I'm afraid. But what's your take on that? What's the ideal smoking jacket?
I personally wouldn't have vents. But
no vents?
But that's only me. That's only me. I mean, you know, I'm certainly no paragon on these matters. I've got one in silk velvet, but it does tend to, as you can see,
it marks.
Well, as soon as you, unless you have absolutely impeccable manners and never rest your elbows on the table, and I'm one of the least well-mannered people I know, you immediately find that the velvet bruises, and in silk velvet it's even worse, which is terrible. But silk velvet has this wonderful handle to it, whereas cotton velvet's more robust.
And shawl or peak or
shawl?
Shawl.
Yeah.
Absolutely shawl.
Yeah. I've got a smoking jacket in corduroy, blue needle cord. With ribbed silk lapels. It's shawl collar. It's fantastic. It's copied off one that the Duke of Windsor used to have.
And one or two of these braiding, how do you call that?
Frogging, for reasons that are beyond me, but yeah, frogging.
Emma, do you know why we call it frogging?
I'm not sure.
No.
I think it used to be probably that they killed frogs and then twisted them up into little bits. And no, I got no idea why it's called frogging.
Okay.
But a frog mouth lapel you can understand because it looks a bit like a frog mouth in profile, but this looks nothing like a frog at all. I'm in two minds about frogging. I love detail and I love overkill and I love decoration, so if I look like a Baroque German church when I'm going out, I feel it's about right. But even I can think there's maybe a time when too much frogging is not a good thing. That's probably about right. It looks a bit like a old-fashioned dressing gown to have it round the lapel, though, I find.
Right.
You know those old-fashioned dressing gowns?
Yes, like we've got one from a long time ago here. Let's have a look at the ladies' one there.
I'd wear that. You see, I don't mind that. I don't mind the frogging there because you're giving an air of formality to basically, you know, what could be a kind of non-dress cloth. I think George V had a tartan suit that he, I think it was George V, that he would wear for tea after shooting. So he had a suit into which he changed to have tea. It was something from the 1880s or 1890s. And then he would, they'd change out of that into whatever he wore next. But it was a bit, it reminds me a bit of this. I love it. I mean, I'd wear this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think that's a tartan that Campbell designed.
That's marvelous.
And tell me, so let's look at the trews there. Are you a big fan of trews? Well,
yep, love any check. I have a dinner jacket in something like that, where that yellow bit is purple. Looks a bit Bill Haley in the Comets, but none the worse for that. I quite like, I mean, I'd wear these, I mean, very happily. But I mean, probably to the great offence of proper Scots people, because I presume that the Foulkes tartan is non-existent, but I just love it. I mean, I also love wearing, I have very lightweight tartan trousers for the summer.
And so you wear the tartan trouser with the smoking jacket.
Yeah, but then you wear it with the smoking jacket, and I mean, or I would wear normal evening trousers with a tartan jacket.
So that's the right combination.
Yes. Well, it's not the right combination.
It's one combination. Yeah, it's one combination.
If you're
and I forgot, but I've been told what the colors on tartan mean. I remember that if there's red, that means it's a family that's been winning battles.
That could be the case.
But the yellow, I forgot what the yellow is.
I defer to your greater knowledge on these matters, as in everything.
Well, I peeked.
You must explain hedge funds to me as well while we're here. I've never understood those.
So let's look at what else have we got. Have we got ladies? Yeah. So what do you see your lady friends shooting with? Same as us, men, or different garments?
What was Andrea wearing? She was wearing a sort of leopard skin coat and
she had a
Gucci rubber boots.
Yes. But she was wearing a tweed skirt.
Was she?
Yeah.
Okay.
So skirt
is that a skirt? Tweed skirt?
I don't think there's
no skirt,
there.
no trousers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to them, really. I'd wear that tweed for sure. I mean, I have it cut differently.
And the gilet?
The shooting gilet I love. I have mine done with a pocket in here to put in the recoil pad. Right. Which I think is practical.
Yeah.
Because they used to quilt them, and that's lovely, but over time the quilting breaks down. I mean, not that I shoot very seldom, and also I have many more tweed garments than I need.
Right.
I mean, happily, I still have the aesthetic capacity for more, but the practical use of them is perhaps not what it might be. But if you're shooting a lot and you only have a couple of those things, the wadding will, after, it'll compress and be no good.
So one should really insist. And
well, I think it's quite a good idea. I mean, nobody should or shouldn't do anything, but I think in terms of practicality, it's quite good to be able to, because if you're shooting for, 2 days and you're getting double gun and you don't, it sort of rather spoils your second day if you've got a bruised shoulder already. So.
And it's a small gel pack.
It's a gel pad.
It's a gel pad, so it's not big.
It's not big,
you cannot see it.
I don't know. I mean, there's all sorts of technical wonderment that they managed to put into them, but I don't know.
All right, and what else have we got? I think we've already talked about. These are
shooting with trousers.
Shooting with trousers. That's
one of your guests informed me that only dukes used to shoot with trousers, and now everybody finds it more convenient.
Yeah.
And also, when you're driving home and you stop at a petrol station, you stand out. Well, I think you stand out, full stop, but you stand out maybe slightly less than the guy in the +4s.
Yeah, probably less. Not to take on the train.
Yeah, but I mean, it's sort of degrees. I think they're great. Are they yours?
I think those might be, yeah.
They're good.
I know I've got the same, and that's
You shoot in trousers,
inspired by Gregor Peck. Yeah, I shoot with trousers or moleskin. I'm still I still love moleskin.
It's comfortable,
sort of
and also your lederhosen are good. I mean, I like those lederhosen.
Yeah, which is good. Let's have a look at the final garment from the Clapton archives that we got there.
I love the way you refer to it as if it were sort of like from the Met. It
Yeah.
is good. I mean, he is one of the great treasures of this nation.
Okay, would you mind opening that? Okay, so this is a light gabardine. When would someone wear that?
I love it. I mean,
It's
I'd wear it almost anywhere, to be honest. But it's presumably for warm weather shooting in Scotland.
Yeah, probably Scotland or Spain.
Spain, maybe.
Or Texas on quail.
What have we got here? Yeah.
So it's got +4s there too.
Oh, I've been shooting quail in one of the cotton states, just where
Georgia.
What's north? Yeah, Georgia.
Yeah.
And that's extraordinary. And actually, because the way they do it, you're going through a lot of very, very, very resistant undergrowth. So everything gets very scratched. So you really want something that's thorn-proof. That's where your lederhosen would come in, or something like this. But I fear that even something like this would be.
So if you're going to do trousers, but like with gaiters or.
Yeah, I mean they wear gaiters. They wear or chaps or something like that. But or chaps, as I believe we're encouraged to call them, not chaps.
And then the last garment there is a cape.
Are you bringing these back?
We've got a couple of clients who love that.
But that's a woman's cape, isn't it?
I think that's one is a woman's cape, yeah.
Well, I like it. What about greatcoats? Are they coming back?
Not so much for shoot. Yes, for city wear, I suspect. But
I love this. I think this is great. What's the back like?
it's a raglan shoulders.
Do raglan shoulder? I mean, I suppose I always knew about the rag. Does the raglan shoulder? Can you apply that to this garment or not, or would you always make this garment? Because there wouldn't be a sleeve head anyway. So I mean, the raglan sleeve was obviously Lord Raglan, who lost his arm at Waterloo, and it was more convenient for him to get into and out of the garments with the raglan sleeve rather than the conventional sleeve.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
And he was at he fought at his last thing was the Crimea, where he confused things a bit by referring to the enemies, who were the Russians, as the French. And the French were the Allies, because he was still fighting. He was in his mind still back in the sort of Napoleonic days. But no, he lost his arm at Waterloo, or lost from the elbow down, I think, and had to have this thing done to enable him to wear garments. And then you had the Earl of Cardigan was also at Crimea and inventing the cardigan. I don't know if he invented the cardigan at the Crimean War, but apparently he wore them on his yacht. He went there with his yacht.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because most of these designs are coming from functionality.
Yeah.
A lot of them being military.
Yeah.
Because they look good, but you need to be practical and at ease.
And also there was less convention. I mean, men's clothes. I mean, if you read that little thing from Oswald Burley over there, there was much more individuality in terms of dress. There were the sense of correct form was, I think it was less oppressive. Do you know? I mean, so you could. I mean, so you could.
There was so much. Virtually everything at the time was bespoke. So
well, everything other than, I mean, everything. So you just had it made to
really
suit
made
you.
For you. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing that.
As always,
for sharing your
pleasure.
science.
Pleasure,
And
pleasure,
Emma,
pleasure.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.